leaning on Jesus. You know, over the Christmas holiday, I had a conversation with one of my sisters, and we were talking about, let's just say, a mutual acquaintance. And, we both were wondering where this person was. And so today I looked for that person. I looked up that person, and I found the person by good old trusty dusty Facebook. This person was on Facebook, and lo and behold, what was he doing? He had become a minister of the gospel. As a matter of fact, uh, he has a title as being an apostle in his church. Like, some people give themselves the title of reverend, pastor, prophet, what have you. He had the title of apostle. And so, it didn't surprise me because a lot of people in my personal culture, that's what they ultimately um, settle for. They settle for the Christian church and, in some way, shape, or form, becoming a minister of the gospel. And it's sad because I listened to a portion of one of his sermons, and it just dawned on me that not only does he, well, I say just dawned, I've known it all along, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Nobody knows Jesus. Nobody knows Jesus. First of all, Jesus technically lived 2,000 years ago. And to get to know him, you have to use your imagination to do it. Now, you can read a book, such as the Bible, that talks about some of his exploits and some of his sermons. And just because you read that, you get tricked into thinking you know him, but you don't. You can't know him. Not in a traditional sense of knowing, like um, your son or daughter, or supposedly your best friend or something. You can't know Jesus that way, especially if you never met him. Now, there are a lot of people going around talking about they've had dreams, they've went to heaven and hell, and Jesus came to them in these visions and whatnot. And what's so odd about that is in the Bible teaches that can't happen. So something else is weird going on. And it's like, okay, how do you think you know Jesus? And you're still being evil, sinning, arguing, fussing, fighting with folks over petty things, screaming, yelling, and shouting at these politicians to fix the world. How do you think you know Jesus if you're involved in all this worldly debauchery? I mean, everybody's involved in the debauchery of the world one way or another. Everybody. And to know Jesus, what the Bible teaches that means is to be like Jesus, to become like Jesus. Now, to be totally honest, I don't even like using the name Jesus because that really wasn't the Messiah's real name anyway. It really wasn't. And according to Hebrew culture, as handed down to Moses by the angel of the Lord, you can't change a name. You can't change a name. You can't, in the Hebrew culture, you can't even mess with the letter of the alphabet. So, but back to the original point. To know Jesus in and I'm using the name Jesus as an exception in this video, even though I don't like to use it, because so many people in my friends family circle, they believe that they relate to that name, so that's why I'm using it, just for that sake, for that purpose. They feel like they relate to that name for whatever reason. They are mentally and emotionally linked to the name Jesus. But people, and I got it from this particular sermon, from this guy that I looked up today, that me and my sister was talking about. People think that they're leaning on Jesus. And Jesus is steadily like, get off of me, man. Man, get off of me. Why is that? Because technically, according to the Bible, you as well as everybody else have been dealt a measure of faith. And if you can't use that measure of faith to consistently develop a prayer life to live victoriously in this world, then you can't use that measure of faith to lean on Jesus or trust Jesus. You can't. So now you know why the average Christian still lives with a mentality of uncertainty, because they're lying to themselves about leaning on and trusting Jesus. But if you really think about it, if you look at the journey of the Messiah in the Bible, he descended into this world. He was born into this world. And what he came to do was to teach you how to activate and use your measure of faith. He didn't come here to perpetuate a reality, or an unconscious reality of suffering. Let your measure of faith wither away and away. Be sickly, suffer until the day you die, and then Jesus will come to you after you're dead and take you to a heavenly high place. A place where there's no suffering, where you live forever, and you're playing a game such as Ring Around the Rosie forever. Nah, he didn't come for that. He came to show you, and if you read the Bible carefully enough, you'll see what he's doing. He's teaching you how to till the soil of your mind to make it fertile so you can grow your spirit in consciousness. Because if you recall, in the book of Genesis, God told Adam, in pain and suffering and sorrow, you will till the ground until the day you die. Well, the Messiah came in the New Testament to show you how to till the grounds properly. Unlike Adam, who had to till in sorrow until the day he died. That's what the Messiah came to do. And to this day, you got so many people that call themselves Christians, Christian ministers, no doubt, that are teaching people to till the ground in pain, suffering, and sorrow until the day you die. In mentalities of uncertainty, buried faith, which is your talent that the Messiah talked about in the parable of the rich man and his three servants. The talents were their measures of faith that they were given. So people come here, born into this world, given a carnal mentality which is what they invest their measure of faith in, which is the same thing as burying your talent in the ground, which is the same thing as being unconsciousness. So they're teaching people, Christianity is teaching people, leave your talent buried, and after a period of time, after you're dead, Jesus will come dig you up. That's not what the Bible teaches. The Bible teaches the exact opposite. The Bible teaches that when you transition from this earthly plane, you will have to have your measure of faith secure and intact. You will have to have a victorious mental life. Otherwise, you will be told, I never knew you. No, Christianity is teaching things ass backwards, which is why there is so much debauchery in the church, even to this day, and it's growing. It's growing. Now you see, the Messiah said, faith is like a grain of mustard. It's like a grain of mustard seed. It's the tiniest of all seeds, but it grows in the greatest of all garden herbs and even becomes a tree. Well, Christianity at large has invested its measure of faith in debauchery. Its mustard seed has been planted, invested in debauchery, and it has grown into that full-blown tree of debauchery. Just look at the church. It's horrible. Nobody's leaning on Jesus. And you should be ashamed of yourself if you're one of those people that are lying on the Messiah, because you don't understand what the Bible teaches. And maybe it's because you ain't even read the Bible. I don't know, folks. If you want to ascend to the next level of life, you will have to get rid of uncertainty. Yeah, the uncertainty's got to go. Confusion. Uncertainty is what causes most people to ask other people in pain and sorrow and suffering, please pray for me. Pray for yourself. I mean, I don't want to sound mean by telling you that, but you're going to have to come to a place where you can pray for yourself without worrying about having to ask other people to pray for me, because you know how unfaithful and how uncertain you really are. Certainty begins at the beginning. And at the beginning, you got to quit lying on Jesus. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you made it through this particular talk, and God bless.